If you have your own creepy story, I'm waiting for your email. All the information under the video. Thank you for watching. Please, press like and subscribe to my channel. Letting her in. Me and Cindy have been dating for a few months. She recently earned a promotion at her job, which requires her to travel occasionally. Darn. She pulls her phone down from her ear and begins to swirl the glass of red wine in her other hand. She sat down next to me. My vet's office is completely booked. I always bring them Pickles. Why she named her very fluffy white cat Pickles is still a mystery to me. I guess I could call some more around the area. My hand was rubbing the fluffy thing's belly. He just loves attention. No. What if I watch Pickles for you? I mean, my landlord wouldn't be happy, but it's only a night. Hopefully no neighbors tell him. The idea of having the cat in my duplex would be troublesome. Mr. Grady doesn't allow pets and probably find a way to charge me more if I make him mad. She sat down next to me and put her hand on my knee. Or, call me crazy, but what if I just stayed here with Pickles? You want to stay here? Well, this is Pickles' home, and he would probably be more comfortable here than me having to hide him at my place. All his food and play stuff is here. I could grab my laptop and get my work done from here. She hesitated. I mean, it was just a night. I didn't think I proposed anything too crazy. I haven't stayed the night here yet. Well, okay. Thank you. She kissed me on the cheek. I'll go get ready. I left her house to pop by my place really quickly for my laptop and some extra clothes. I quickly drove back to her beautiful home on the lake. She came down wearing a red sweater and tan pants. Her lipstick and heels matched that sweater too. She was putting her earrings in and making sure her blonde hair was how she thought it should be. I was sitting on her bed and unpacking my stuff. Make sure that you do not open my door. Her voice sounded serious. Don't open the door, I'll make sure to have my key. I'll make sure not to invite a party in. I chuckled, but guess she didn't find it funny. Why would you tell me not to open your door? Her phone rang. She pushed up her finger, which meant one thing. She's in work mode. Leave her alone. Okay. I'm on my way. She grabbed her suitcase and gave me a quick peck on the lips. I locked the door behind her once she was off the porch. This is gonna be nice, ain't it, Pickles? He looked up at me and laid on his pillow. It was gonna be nice. I can lay back and watch some baseball games and enjoy a few beers. I could reheat some of that pizza she ordered earlier. She's got a nice pool in the back. I did forget my trunks, but it wasn't like anyone was here to see me. I laughed quietly to myself. Then I heard a knock on the door. Cindy was knocking. Lightning and heavy rain made an appearance. Damn these summer storms. Cindy, what are you doing here? My trip got rescheduled. My boss said that I'll have to go next week instead. There was silence. Well, could you let me in? Don't you have your keys? You said so before you left. No, I sure don't. I left them on the bed. This storm is kind of scary. I unlocked the door and she came in. She locked the deadbolt behind her. Pickles looked at her and trotted off to another room. Well, I'm gonna go change my clothes. I'll be back in not too long. She was walking up her stairs. My phone rang. It was from Cindy. Hello? Hey babe, sorry about earlier. I had to take that call. I'm probably another hour or so away from the place. But you just went upstairs. What are you didn't open the door, did you? What's going on? It felt like someone punched me in the stomach. Oh my God, listen to me. Get out of the house as quickly as you can. I'm turning around. But what is... Hey, babe. Her voice wasn't on the phone. I turned around and she was standing at the bottom of the stairs. Who are you on the phone with? My mom. No, you weren't. She walked to the front of the door. I glanced behind my shoulder. There are windows and a back door. Maybe if I run for it. Not planning on running, are you? Her voice sounded distorted, as if a second voice slightly deeper and was mixed in with hers. You know you were the worst on your cross-country team in school. I never told you that. My legs were shaking. Of course you did. You said that some girl used to call you Theodore the Turtle. I know all about you. I turned and ran for my life. I heard a loud shriek and it stomped after me. Come on, Turtle Boy, you're not getting away. The back door was locked. Shit. I ducked and heard glass shatter. I sprint towards the front door and look over my shoulder. Her face was covered in blood and glass shards. Her eyes were pure red. I tripped over Pickles. She slowed down. She sure is gonna miss you. Her mouth opened so large it was like a cartoon. She could have swallowed me whole. I pulled off my shoe and tossed it in her mouth. I was pushing myself backwards and was throwing everything at her I could. Pickles climbed up and scratched her eye. She let her scream of agony. I was able to get up and try to unlock the door. This damn cat, I'm gonna enjoy eating you. She held him up while its claws were pierced in its skin. An umbrella was next to the door. I grabbed it and shoved it down its throat and pushed the button to let it expand. I jerked Pickles out of its grasp. It began trying to maneuver the umbrella out of its windpipe. I started shoving everything in its mouth. I could. Couch pillows, cat toys, the pillow. It was slowing down and struggling to breathe. I jerked down the TV and threw it in its mouth. I ran into the kitchen and grabbed all the silverware I could. I began dumping knives, forks, spoons, the microwave, the blender. It paused. It stared at my eyes before it collapsed on the ground. It began to have steam rising from the body and green slime was bubbling out of its body. It was starting to burn into the hardwood flooring. I stood in horror as I was trying to catch my breath. Pickles was walking towards the body and I scooped him up. Such a good boy. The door was being pounded on. Oh my God, let me in. Please say you're alive. Babe, babe. I walked up to the door and looked through. Where's the thing at? Dead. She was pulling on the door with all her might. What was that? She looked up at me. I have no clue. Let me in now. Don't you have a key? Well, yeah. She looked at me with such anger. Then let yourself in. She unlocked the door. I want to go outside. I saw the time on the digital clock, 2:59 a.m. I rolled over and went back to sleep. That's why we were having a sleepover at Pilar's house. Bobby woke up at 2:59 a.m. and did what I had, what any sane person would. Only Pilar had seen 2:59 a.m. and thought to get out of bed. I saw him, he said the next day. We met in the middle of our street, Ferry Street, on our bikes. It was 1990 in mid-August, and we were 10. The apprehension and wonder of the new middle school we would enter had been totally numbed by the death of our fathers. They'd died in the same accident the previous March. Our fathers were close and moved to Ferry Street at the same time. After a few drinks at the pub, they were walking home. The drunk driver didn't realize he'd taken them out with his truck. He kept going, parked in his driveway, and passed out in his car. When he called 911 the next day, he said somebody had been murdered in his car. Pilar, Bobby, and I were at the funeral and didn't understand exactly what had happened. Our fathers were gone. Our moms became so fragile. We were on our own. We only had each other. It wasn't enough. We went through the motions of friendship and life and couldn't express the loss. Even now, the best I can do is to suggest it was like going to a funeral every day without visiting the cemetery, without burying a body. People gave us pained looks and offered their condolences. We didn't know what that meant and had no way of looking it up. Pilar called it bullshit. Bobby got quieter and seemed always on the verge of tears. I don't know what I became other than something hollow. We all woke up at 2:59 a.m., Pilar said. How do you know that? I asked. He shrugged. I don't know, but I'm right, aren't I? Listen, guys, our dads, they're back. I saw them last night. They were walking up the road at 3. Bobby and I shared an incredulous look. No, really, guys, I can prove it. Stay over tonight. You'll see. There was no point in asking our moms for permission. In these dark times, they agreed to everything without really hearing what we said. I asked anyway. Is it okay to sleep at Pilar's tonight? Sure, my mom said. She was in bed. I don't know if she got up that day. Pilar set us up in his living room. His place looked pretty dirty. There were empty beer bottles everywhere. I think he'd been drinking them. He seemed kind of tired and his eyes were half-lidded. We played video games on his old TV and had snacks for dinner. Close to 11, I started to yawn. Tired? Pilar asked us both. Yup, Bobby said. His usual patience had grown thin. Maybe he thought Pilar's scheming had finally crossed a line. I found it comforting. Pilar had endless exaggerated tales before our dads died. They'd ended at the funeral. Now they seemed to be back. I didn't know how he knew we'd all awakened at the same time, and I didn't think I'd see my dad. But the return of his lies felt like the normalcy I so desperately needed. Pillows are upstairs, Pilar said, observing that neither of us had brought any. After a moment pondering how I could forget a pillow, I trudged up to the second floor and noted further degradation in the house. Pilar's mom had trashed the place and never cleaned up. There were slashes in the wallpaper and smashed frames. All the lights were off, but we knew the place well, having stayed over countless times before. I heard his mom snoring through her open bedroom door. Wisely, I kept moving and found the pillows. Scant light from outside put a portrait around a red mark on his dresser. I had put it there. Pilar and I were blood brothers. Bobby had declined the ritual after seeing me freak out over my bloody thumb. I'd used the dresser handle to pull myself up before I booked it home, crying all the way. I returned to the living room to find Pilar settling into his spot on the couch. Bobby sat on his sleeping bag. "Did you set an alarm or something?" I asked. Pilar smiled. "No need. We'll wake up. Don't worry." He yawned. Bobby rolled his eyes and turned on the Nintendo. He didn't have video games at home, so he would spend the night in a way he found worthwhile. It might have been the only reason he'd endured Pilar's tale about 2:59 a.m. I picked up the second controller and entered the Konami code for Contra. The sequence of buttons was prized lore among kids. It gave the extra lives needed to complete difficult games. Bobby smiled, but looked sad and exhausted. "You okay, Bobby?" He didn't answer the objectively stupid question. "Think we could beat this without cheating? Do you think anyone has? Like, you get so few lives without the cheat code. It isn't fair." "It isn't." Bobby shook his head. "And his little gun-toting avatar died when he took his hand off the controller to wipe his tears." "You're right," I said. "It isn't fair." We played for a few hours and agreed to sleep, believing strongly in the possibility that Pilar would wake us up at 2:59 in order to do something stupid. "I love him, you know," Bobby said. "And I fucking hate his guts." We were both in our sleeping bags staring at the white ceiling. "Pilar?" I asked, but Bobby didn't answer. I figured he went to sleep, so I did the same. 2:59 a.m. came next. Look, get ready," Pilar shouted until we were fully awake. "They're coming. Hurry." He beckoned us over to the wide window behind the couch. The street outside had never been brightly lit. I saw a man staggering alone, a drunken shadow that could be anyone. To my surprise, I was disappointed. I wanted it to be true. "Pilar, man, come on," I said. "No, wait, just wait," he said. I humored him and kept watching. A shaft of unnatural light illuminated his face. He looked straight at me from the middle of the road and smiled as if it had all been a mistake. I couldn't believe it. My dad stood there, alive and well, and a little drunk. "Dad!" Bobby shouted. "Dad!" He scrambled off the couch and tripped over the coffee table. "Wait! Just wait! I'm coming!" I looked back outside. It was my dad there. Pilar started next. "Dad! Dad!" He went for the front door. Instantly, I knew all of it was wrong. "No! Stop! Stop!" But they didn't. Both were fighting one another to unlock the door. I bowled into them. They had to see reason. We couldn't all be seeing our fathers in one man. "Stop!" I shouted, blocking the now unlocked door. "There's one guy out there. I saw my dad, and you saw yours. That isn't possible." "Get out of the way," Bobby yelled, grabbing my arms and pulling. Pilar joined him. Together, they overpowered me and opened the door, admitting a rush of cold air and silence unnatural to an August night in Bridal Veil Lake. I grabbed at both, but knew I could only hold one. I chose the blood brother. Bobby sprinted down the walkway to whatever the hell waited outside. I saw the shadow kneel and open its arms, its face gone, indistinct in the dark, and certainly not any of our fathers. Pilar and I fell to the floor. I managed to entangle him and kick shut the door. When I did, we both heard the anguished cry from Bobby. A strangled, futile plea followed, which made Pilar and I look at one another. "He's gone," Pilar said. "He's gone. Oh my God." I pushed him away. I opened the door and it was true. The man, the thing that had appeared as my father and Pilar's and Bobby's, was gone. So was Bobby. No sign of either remained. The unusual quiet ceased, and the night resumed its cadence of crickets and traffic in the distance. I went inside. My hands were trembling, but I felt detached from the world and my body. "You saved me," Pilar said flatly. He closed the door and reached over my shoulder to lock it. He went into the living room and found his sleeping bag. Somehow he rolled over and went to sleep. I didn't know what to do. I sat on the floor. When bad things happened, I used to go to my parents. It's not that our moms didn't care. They couldn't anymore. Too much had happened. That's why I did nothing too. There was nobody to tell. If I tried, I predicted only more absent-minded acknowledgement that I had spoken. Bobby's gone, I'd say. Sure, Mom would say, and I'd still be on my own. I still wouldn't know what to do. I don't know right now, and it's 34 years after the fact. Guess that's why I'm writing about it. I left Pilar's at the first sign of dawn and found sleep as easily as he had. When I woke up, it was late in the afternoon. I ate waffles for supper and played Nintendo into the night. I didn't see my mom. When I heard her crying, I closed the door. Bobby's mom didn't call the police. She didn't come to our place or Pilar's to look for him. Sleeping that night was difficult. I stared out the window and the digital clock on my nightstand. I had no intention of staying up until 2:59 a.m., but that's what I did. At 2:45 a.m., Pilar left his house and crossed the street to mine. He had a coil of rope and a baseball bat. He knocked on the door rapidly and shouted my name. I ran downstairs, worried he'd wake up my mom. What the hell, man? It felt weird to talk. I hadn't said a word since the previous night. Dude, he yelled. Open the door. I got a plan. I reached for the doorknob but hesitated and looked at my hand for no good reason. Why do you have rope and a bat, Pilar? What? He asked. I can barely hear you. Open the door. Pilar, I said. Why do you have that stuff with you? He didn't say anything straight away, and then, we're gonna get that thing. We're gonna get Bobby back. Come on. I could picture Bobby rolling his eyes. Another wacky scheme by Pilar. Man, I said, I can't. I didn't have it in me to face whatever we'd seen last night, and I didn't think a rope, bat, or nuclear bomb would be enough to bring Bobby back. He was gone. He is gone. Pilar must have known. What? Are you kidding? Bobby. Bobby's gone, I said. They're all gone. Nobody's coming back. Go home, Pilar. His bat crashed against the door and open the fucking door. Pilar, what the? He swung again and again. The handle rattled on my side as he began to target it. Stop. It's coming. Open up. Don't leave me out here, man. Fine, stop, okay. I might have opened it then, but the unnatural quiet consumed the night as it had before. I could hear Pilar whispering, though, not exactly what he said. Who are you talking to? I asked. Hurry. He's coming. Hurry. He resumed his attack on the door, and I almost gave in, I really did, but something occurred to me. You didn't go out to see our dads the first night, I said. What? Why didn't you go see your dad, Pilar? Nothing from the other side for a moment. Let me in. His tone changed from pleading to anger. Open the fucking door. Right now. I waited. He smashed the handle. I gripped it in mine, willing the door to hold. You fought me last night, Pilar, but not that hard. He said he loved you. Bobby loved you, Pilar. But you lied about that first night. Do you love me? He asked. Do you? I thought about my bloody thumbprint. I don't know, man. I don't know you anymore. I don't know me. I don't know. He's here. Last chance to see your dad. It's either me or you that goes. He said he needed two of us. Then he'd bring him back for real. What would you do? If you could get your dad back, man, what would you give? I wouldn't give you, Pilar. I wouldn't give Bobby. Pilar began to cry. I could hear him. He dropped the bat. It clattered on the walkway. The rope hit the patch of dirt in the grass we used for home plate. I love you, I swore I heard him say. He didn't scream like Bobby, but his anguished gasp revealed the pain. When the noise returned to the world and I could overcome my fear enough to move, I opened the door. Pilar had brought more than a rope and a bat. In his school backpack by the curb, I found a carving knife, handcuffs, in case the rope didn't suffice, I guess, a barbecue lighter, lighter fluid, and, the coup de grace, a letter written by Pilar. In it, he explained how all three of us had run away. I sat on the curb with that letter in my hands till about mid-morning. My mom came out and found me. Police were called, but I couldn't speak much about what had happened. Pilar's written version became the dominant narrative. They figured, I think, that I had chickened out on taking off with my friends. Offering a fragmented tale about our dads coming back, but actually not, made me look crazy. I went home. I fell asleep. That's when I woke up at 2:59 a.m. again. He spoke softly but clear. Son, it's me. It's okay. You can come out now. Son, come on down. I didn't go. I don't think I breathed. It stopped. I didn't wake up at that time. Not for the longest time. Life resumed, kind of. Nothing good about Ferry Street remained for my mom or me. We moved across town and carried on the best we could. I did all the things I was told to do, but didn't make any lasting connections. The hollow feeling never went away. Once in a while I could forget about those nights. I could pretend to be someone else in a crowd. But real joy has never been mine. Days and moments usually associated with happiness are reminders of what I've lost. To say my sanity is compromised regularly would be accurate. I wouldn't have written anything about this, but then it happened again. I woke up at 2:59 a.m. I didn't get out of bed. But it hasn't stopped. I wake up at the same time every night and have for the past 2 weeks. And last night I didn't go to the window. I went to the door. I grasped the handle and couldn't think of one reason not to go outside. Only soul-rending fear kept me in. Keeps me in. But I could overcome it. Pilar did. Maybe tonight. If I open it, I'll see his face again one more time alive, and then it'll finally be over. Don't forget subscribe and press like. Thank you for watching.